Howdy, 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 folks. Today we're going to do something quite a bit different. Yesterday, October 22nd, 2023, CitizenCon 23 ended. And boy, was there quite a bit of news to unpack for all of us. Before I go any further, I do want to point out on some of the things we're going to talk about today. I'm not a programmer, and I know very little about modern programming, so I will instead attempt to focus my commentary on things that I think I understand. We'll find out sooner or later, I'm sure. But feel free to correct me in the comments below. I do not mind. For anyone curious about location before we get into today, since that's been a comment popping up quite a bit, today we are filming in and around the Mike L3 space station. So, first thing, select citizens at the convention were allowed to play in Pyro for a bit, showcasing an almost completely playable new system that I know we've all been waiting for. I've only been in game for not even a year now, and I'm super excited. I'm sure the longtime backers are also incredibly excited, and it looked really good. I got to watch about 30 minutes of gameplay footage from some different people, and it was very interesting. I'm excited. Related to that, and this is just my opinion because they did not put down a definitive, but I think we're going to get 4.0 before the end of the year, or probably really early in 2024. I don't think we're looking at another, I don't even think we have 6 months left in the 3 series patch. I think it's going to be moving over quick. I love this place. I really do. I love the eeriness of the. Anyways, okay. Second thing, Squadron 42 is feature complete. Those are the words from All Hail Him, Chris Roberts. It is now in the polish phase of development. Now, there is a lot of speculation and things going on from this. I know that something I unpacked from it, and it seemed to be, I don't want to say confirmed, but I inferred it from their commentary. But as features in Squadron 42 are finalized, those dev teams that are working on that are able to shift focus to persistent universe products, which is great because that helps everybody. On top of how exciting Squadron 42 is going to be to play, the implications for the persistent universe are fantastic. Another thing that I'm really excited that is related to that, though, is that with the rollout of Squadron 42, we're going to have a slew of releases of these older concept ships, like the Idris, Polaris, things like that. We're actually going to, some of these points are interconnected, which I really like. Third thing, we got a new flyable variant of the cutter, which is what we've all been looking at so far in this video. It's the Scout. Now that might not be huge news for everyone. I really enjoy the cutter. I think it's a fantastic little starter ship. And getting some new variants, especially for starter package ships, I think will be beneficial to new players who are coming in. They've got friends that are already playing, so they have seen it maybe. They've seen different ships, and they're able to make a little bit more personal purchase. The Mustang Alpha, the Aurora MR, they're not for everybody. And getting some other near price point competitors, I think will allow newer players to once again make some of those more personalized ship purchase decisions. By the way, expect a review and comparison to the base model cutter really soon. Fourth thing, so we got a new concept ship from RSI. This is obviously not it, but we got the Zeus Mark II. Now, I'm going to come clean. I most definitely purchased the Clipper the night they announced. And then today I made another impulse purchase that's going to get me beat when my wife gets home of the Mark. Those are perfect ships for me. I really like the look. I really like the functionality. On paper, it looks amazing. as with everything, we'll see once it gets here. All three variants fit their niche, which is also something that's pretty important to me, but they are still flexible, which is obviously like anyone that's watched any of my reviews on versatile ships knows like that's a massive deal for me. When I'm thinking about pledging for a ship, is I have a finite amount of money that I want to spend, so I want to get the most flexibility out of a ship that I can, with a few exceptions. Another thing that I mean, it hasn't really been discussed a lot, but I like that they're getting the RSI design queues down. So I know part of the backlog for concept ships has been finalizing each brand's design queues, and I really see the Zeus. Like you look at the Zeus, and then you take a look at the Galaxy, and in terms of their design and their flow, it's very similar, and I mean that in a good way, because that means they've nailed, okay, this is how we want RSI ships to go. Connecting back to something I talked about a little bit ago with Squadron 42, getting these brand design queues finished along with the completion of Squadron 42 will allow CIG to start finishing that backlog of concept ships much quicker, which of course I really feel like that's great news, for all players. Fifth thing, so the RSI Galaxy uh, will have base building functions in the future. Now, I don't have more info to share on that, more specific information to share on that. I got very little that I have on it from a trusted source. And I'm sure that we'll be getting some great updates from the more plugged in content creators in the coming days. I missed the initial reveal of this tidbit because I'm old and I went to bed before the show was over. Sorry. I will say this is fantastic news, especially for me, because this is, the RSI Galaxy is the one subcap ship that I am really drawn to. I like the design of it. I like the functionality that they're talking about for it. Granted, I wish I had more to tell you guys. I don't have any additional info on base building either right now. I did watch an interesting 10-minute video this morning from CIG about where that's at and where they're kind of going with it, but I don't want to speak out of turn and say, I don't want to tell you guys something that's not the way it's going to end up being. I am following it closely though, because that is right up my alley. That is exactly what I'm after. So, on to some other developments since my last video release. CIG ran and is still, I believe, in a limited capacity, running an event that opens the purchase of the F8 Charlie. Now, the ticket event, last that I had read about it was, say, a couple days ago, they were still doing golden tickets, which allows you to buy it. I may be wrong, and if I am, I'm sorry. If you weren't sure, though, if it was worth the time, I can tell you 100% that this ship is amazing. In fact, my very next video is going to be a review of the F8 Charlie. I've flown just about every ship in this game, and this one is one of the most enjoyable ships that I've experienced yet. Other news, 3.21 has released, and I skimmed the patch notes. Not much stood out to me, but I mean that in a good way. I have noticed increased stability in general since really about 3.20 released, which is funny because right as I was writing that into my script, I had a 30K, but things happen. If anyone has anything to add about the patch notes that seems really big, please feel free to share it in the comments. Oh, I know, I got one. The Vulture or the Reclaimer, any salvage ship, no longer marks RMC containers to the owner the way it did before. So, for instance, let's say you have a Vulture and your buddy has a Cutlass Black, and y'all want to go salvage together. You can go salvage RMC in your Vulture. Once you fill your Vulture up, you can start sending crates over to your buddy in the Cutlass Black, and they can go sell it now instead of only the person that did the salvaging be able to sell it, which is great. I probably said that in a really roundabout way, but I'm super excited about that. I happen to my favorite gameplay loop right now is to run around in my reclaimer. So I'm actually kind of excited because now, multi-ship gameplay with that's a little more feasible. Let's see. Oh, last, not CitizenCon note, the Crusader A1 Spirit has released. That was the ship I was in just a minute ago. It is also quite a bit of fun, and there will also be a video coming for it very soon as well. I haven't spent a whole lot of time in it, but the C1 is probably my personally most anticipated ship because I think it's going to be the first one in a long time that's really going to give the Cutlass Black a run for its money for me personally as a daily driver. Because I love Crusader ships. I really do. I think they're great. That's all the news that I've been following. I'm sure that I missed some things, but I also have no doubt that you all will fill me in the comments. On a personal side, I'm a working musician / composer, and I recently got picked up for a new project, so my releases, they'll still be once a week at least, but I can't commit and say, hey, we're going to get one every Tuesday. I wish I could, but when the right opportunity comes along, you got to grab it, If you like what we're doing, do me a favor, hit that like button, tap subscribe, and click the bell icon for notifications for new content. Now, if this video does well, maybe I'll add like a monthly Star Citizen news video. Let me know what you guys think. Either way, as always, I want to thank you all for your time, and I look forward to seeing you all out there in the verse.